So tell me how this song came about, Tommy. What inspired you?
Well, what inspired me was Steve Scaffidi, who kind of produced this whole thing, and he had written some songs in Louisiana. He'd written an LSU fight song and stuff like that, and I really didn't want to get involved in anything like that. But I seen with this transfer portal and NIL where kids were. It was no more about the team. It was no more about building a relationship, everybody working together for a main goal, and that is to win. And there was no loyalty, no tradition. Just it was just me, me, me. And when me and Steve was talking about it, I said, I don't really care about a fight song, but I mean, if it's something that we can talk about the tradition of Alabama and what we were taught at Alabama and what we believed in, what Coach Bryant taught us. And I said, if we can go at it from that angle, I'm all in.
Mhm.
And that's kind of, I had written that poem I told you about, and I had written a bunch of other things down that when I had kids later on, I wanted to be able to share with them what Coach Bryant taught us. And I had all that stuff written down and had some stuff in a poem. And Steve said, send it to me. And I sent it to him. And man, he's like a magician, man. He put this there, that there, and then he'd call me and say, well, what about, we need a little bit more for this main course. And I said, well, we don't have anything about the bowl games. So I said, let's just go. We played in so many at Alabama. Why don't we just go from west to east, like from the Rose to the Orange to the Sugar Bowl? I wanted the Sugar Bowl to be the last because that's where we won two championships. And that's kind of how that he fit that into the chorus. He did all the music, all everything. And he sent it to me and it didn't have the little things in it, right? That Coach Bryant really said, look, if you want to do the big things, you got to do the little things, right? And he always stressed the little things. So I sent it back to him and he said, well, how about if we put it right at the end? Because that way it won't get lost in all the other words. And we'll have the little things right there at the end where everybody can leave. And I said, well, let's try it. So he did that and it come back. I said, oh man, yeah, that really makes it work. I said, man, I said, before we do anything, let me call a bunch of former players and let them hear it and then let them tell me what they think. Because I didn't want to release it just,
Mhm.
without getting their point of view also.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, they all loved it, man. They all got goosebumps there. Jim Bob told me he was driving and had tears coming down his eyes. So I said, well, maybe we got something. And then so we did. We just put it out there and it's kind of just taken off.
And you say the young kids are getting into it.
Yeah. Uh, we, uh, we, we, I got it to Cedric Burns, who got it into the locker room 2 weeks ago and let them listen to it. And, I know that type music might not be exactly what they listen to,
Mhm.
but it's about tradition. And there's only one way to talk about tradition and winning and having pride in yourself. And if you get knocked down, get up. And there's only one way to kind of get that point across. And I think Steve Scaffidi did an excellent job with that.
Mhm. Um, you you think it like how much have you heard back from the fan base?
Uh, a bunch because, of course, it's on Facebook, it's on TikTok, it's on Instagram, and I mean, it's just been overwhelming. Just people, we love it. Oh, it's awesome. It should be playing in the stadium. If this ain't in the stadium next year, yeah, I mean, just I mean, just all kind of little things like that. They said that really brings out, it reminds me of the bear, or, just it's been really, really, usually you think when you put something out, you'll get some hate mail, but really we haven't gotten any. It's been really fabulous, and the Alabama fans have really taken. I mean, it was like I think this morning it was like at 12,000, uh, and that's just been 2 weeks, so that's not bad.
Yeah.
Without a whole lot of, you know, just kind of social media, and then Bob Bumhauer got me on some radio stations and stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, but no, overall, it's been really good and positive. So that makes me feel good. It makes you feel like you're getting a point across.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to drop that outdoor stuff and start being a songwriter.
I don't think I could do the music part of it, man. Just I know what type of music I like, but I'm not a musician, never been a musician. I can write poems and I can write little things like that, but as far as the music part of it, I'll leave that to Steve Scaffidi.
See, I thought everybody from Louisiana had some kind of music in them.
I love that old raspy, old Southern type music. But this day and time, kids listen to so many different things than what we listen to. So that's why I'm saying you don't really know if you're getting it over there to them. But uh, I think this is pretty in between like rock and
Mhm.
country. So it's something that they know it's coming from a tradition standpoint. They'll listen to it.
Yeah, it
And
is.
that
It's
and
good.
Steve added that roll baby roll in there and put
Yeah.
and put that old music in there so that a lot of the women like that. So he hit a home run with that.
Well, that's cool, man. I really appreciate you spending time with me. Yeah.
All
So
right.
how far do you and Tommy go back?
Well, as crazy it is as it is, I played quarterback before Tommy got there. Uh,
In
I
Henderhan.
play well for high school. It
Right.
was it was East Jefferson High School. Now I'm 4 years ahead of Tommy.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm a little bit older than Tommy. I know I look younger, but I'm older than Tommy. So so anyway, I got injured the beginning of my junior season, and it ended my high school career. I mean, I played quarterback too, but I had a busted thumb and it was hanging down to my wrist, but I actually snapped it back in place. And I hid it from the coaches because there was another guy who was about 6'4", like breathing down my neck for the starting job. And I said, there's no way. And this was a preseason game. I said, there's no way I'm getting off this field. No way. I don't care. Broken thumb. I don't know what it was. I toughed it out. The pain was so bad, it didn't hurt anymore. It was that kind of injury.
Mhm.
And lo and behold, the coach sends in the pass play. Like 2 plays later, I was able to hand the ball off. I took, back then we took the snaps under center, and two running plays. Then he calls a pass play. I'm an idiot. I'm young. I'm stupid. Instead of calling a timeout, I run the play. Well, that's when I realized the quarterback can't grip the ball with a busted right thumb. So I threw a wobbly duck that got picked off, and boom, he yelled at me, threw me on the bench. I hid that injury from that coach for over 10 days. Oh yeah.
Wow. That's
Oh yeah.
crazy.
And then finally I fessed up. And my dad was so mad at me.
I
and
can imagine.
I busted my knee. So I was gone. So my junior and senior year in high school was pretty much a bust when it came to playing football. And Tommy came after I was gone. So I didn't really make an impact in high school other than my freshman and sophomore year. So I was gone.
Mm.
And I was so pissed off after high school because I wanted to play. My dad played for the Cleveland Indians, but I love football. So all I could think about, I'm playing pro ball. That's it. Well, I had no other option. So I graduated at midterm, joined the Air Force. My dad he had to sign the papers. I was only 17. He said, "You're going to college, man. What are you talking about?" And finally, the next morning, he must have said, "It's time for my son to grow up." So he signed those papers with tears in his eyes. So literally, when Tommy was playing ball, I was in the Air Force.
Yeah.
We never
Wow.
met until a high school football reunion just a couple of years ago. Now, I knew of him, and I think he maybe knew of me through mutual friends, but we never hung out. And
That's
then 2 years
crazy.
ago, we hung out. Yeah.
That's
You know
really
how this
cool.
you know how this whole thing started? You want me to tell you how this
Yeah.
whole roll baby
Yeah. Uh-huh.
started? Okay. You know, I live in Louisiana. I put 3 kids through LSU. And then my son got his master's degree from Tulane, and my daughter was up at Notre Dame. So, that's where my love is. But no,
Mm.
Tigers, man. Come on. I live here. I'm grown up here. So anyway, I wrote a song for LSU called Welcome to Death Valley. And LSU season was a bust this year. So I mean, who wants to hear Welcome to Death Valley? But maybe next year. So I started sending Tommy some of my songs. I write a lot of songs. So I happened to send him that one. He gets back to me, says, "Dude, I love that song. Man, Alabama could use something like that, right?" That's how it started.
Mm.
He sends me some old Bear Bryant song that sounded like it was recorded in the 60s. And look, I'm sure it was a great song in its day, but it sounded like old timey, come on.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, man, Bama needs a better song. So when Tommy said, man, Bama could use a song like that, I said, hell, let's do it. You know, so here I am, a Tiger, writing a Roll Baby Roll song with Tommy Wilcox, who's a legend, right? 2-time All American, whatever it was. I mean, he had a hell of a career, and he played for the Bear. You know, we wrote the song. And at first I was like, okay, I can't put my name on it because my LSU boys are going to kill me over this, roll, baby, roll. What are you doing? So I said, to hell with it, man. My name, your name, Tiger, Crimson Tide. We come together. We love each other. And we go back to high school. It's just it was a great story. The backstory of the song is almost as good as the song itself. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's really cool. So
it was great.
have you are you surprised about how it's taken off?
Well, I knew we had a hit. I knew we had a great song. Now, I would love Chris Stapleton or give me some top notch cat in the country music space that can rock the house. I could get to Tim McGraw. Tim hadn't done much in a while, but I love Tim. But I mean, Chris Stapleton or somebody like that, come on. So when I wrote the song, I told Tommy, I said, look, because Tommy hasn't produced much music in his life, right? But I produced a lot of songs over the years. And I said, Tommy, look, you played for the Bear. We're going to co-write this thing. You feed me the story. What would the Bear say back in the day? What was it like? I never played for the Bear. So without Tommy, this song wouldn't have had any soul. So
Mm.
Tommy fed me the story. I took it into my studio and hunkered down for a couple of days. And then I called Tommy up. I said, I think I got it. And I played it for him. He wanted me to make one or two little changes, like the end of it where it says it's the little things that matter. He insisted that goes in the song. I didn't put it in the final cut, right?
Mm.
He's like, dude, Bear always said that. You got to get it in there. I'm like, oh, the song's magical. Where am I going to put it? And I said, okay. And I put it at the end, and I think it worked. It was like the Bear coming out, coming back saying, it's the little things that matter. So I just love the song. Tommy's my new best friend now. So we're going to get together. There's a football reunion coming up at the end of January. I'm going to see him. I'm going to introduce him to raw oysters because he hates them. He hates them. And I love them. So we have nothing in common. He likes hunting and fishing. The last time I went hunting, I almost froze to death
Mm.
in North Washington State. I
I
was in
hate
the
it.
Air Force. I
I
hate it.
hate it. My brother
I
loves
hate
it,
it.
and I hate it.
I hate it. I
Oh,
prayed to God that day, please get me back to the truck alive and I'll never come out of here again. So Tommy,
That's so
he could
funny.
have Nick Saban going hunting with him and free tickets and I'm not going. I said, I'll meet you at the lodge after you guys go do your thing. I'll have a couple of cold ones waiting for you. But
That's
yeah.
well, man, I appreciate you coming on with me. I'm so glad you guys had fun doing this.
Oh my God. Like I said, my wife wants to know who the hell is this Tommy Wilcox guy, man? Who is this guy? You and him got nothing in common. I said, yeah,
Yeah.
we do. Roll, baby, roll.
Yeah, you
It's
do now.
when I saw some of the greats, Tommy reached out to some of the greats, right? Cornelius Bennett, come on.
Mm.
Major Ogilvy. You know, I used to love the Tide back in Snake Stabler days, right? I loved the Snake. And he ended up playing for the Saints toward the end of his career. But how do you not love Bear Bryant? Look, as great as Saban was, I still got to give the nod to the Bear, man. The Bear is legendary. Saban's great. I don't care. Saban could have 10 national titles. I'm giving the Bear, man. That's something about the Bear.
I know that mystique, unbelievable.